Okay, I'm going to have another bash at this again now. Hopefully got the microphone issues sorted out. And just to say that I'm just going to try and bust a few myths here for that is about on the buses. So basically you've got, I wrote 4 on the buses books. So the 4 books started with On the Buses, A Complete Story. That came out in 2009. So October 2009, On the Buses, A Complete Story came out. That was launched at the London Transport Museum in Covent Garden. And we had Ronnie Wolf was attended, and Olivia Breeze, Patricia Clapton, and we had also Hal Dyer, Michael's wife, and Harry Fielder was there, and also Cheryl Hall and Avril Gaynor were there. So it was a good turnout we had then. That was in 2009. And thereafter came my quiz book, On the Buses quiz book. And then after the quiz book came the A to Z of On the Buses. Third book on A to Z of On the Buses. And then that came out in the 2012. And then 2016 was my locations book, On the Buses, the film locations. Also run the On the Buses film locations now and then group. So On the Buses, film locations now and then is on Facebook. It's got about coming up towards 19,000 members now. Just bear with me a tick. Let's see. So yeah, we've got 18, nearly 19,000 members for the group now, and we are just about to do some myth busting now. I'll do some myth bustings with you if I can. So basically, the biggest myth that is out there we're going around at the moment is, which is sad, is that Bob Grant was after On the Buses, he never done any work, which is total baloney, basically. So Bob Grant was very copiously involved in work on stage. People think, I didn't see him on television, so he was doing nothing, he was unemployed. That's a total myth, basically. Bob was busy on stage right up until the mid-1980s. I know that. I've got 2 interviews that he done in 78, 81. He was happy with life, he was content, he was looking forward with optimism, and he kept referring to all the stage work that he was doing. So he was very, very busy in terms of his stage work. So that is a total myth that he never had any work. It annoys me as well because it's demeaning the work that he did do between finishing On the Buses and the mid-1980s. It's nearly a dozen years. You're trying to erase from history that he's done a lot of stage work. He toured Australia, I think, 2 or 3 times, done lots of stage work in that time. So that's one myth to put out, kill off straight away. Another myth as well that's out there as well is about Cicely Courtnage getting, was she sacked and all of that? No, the reason Cicely Courtnage wasn't continued on for Series 2, the role was always originally meant to be for Doris Hare, basically. So when they were casting on the Buses, they wanted Doris Hare initially always. Reg earmarked her for the part as mum, so that was sort of like set in stone until they went and asked her for the role. If she wanted the role, Stuart Allen visited her in her house. She was living in Putney Bridge at the time, but unfortunately she was attending a seminar in Mexico at the time with her husband. He was a phrenologist who had done work on brain injuries and all of that. So she was unavailable because that was around about the time they were just about to start rehearsing and start filming Series 1. Obviously, they couldn't change the dates of it, so they had to get in a replacement for Series 1. Replacement for Sirius 1 was Sicely Courtnidge, was the woman that they got in her place. So Sicely came in, but as soon as Sirius 2 got commissioned and Doris Hare was available, they brought Doris Hare in for Sirius 2 and thereafter. So that dispels the myth that Sicely was Courtnidge was sacked. She wasn't. The role was always intended for Doris Hare. The other myth as well, obviously, is the big one, is why are the buses two different colours in the TV series and the films? Simple reason for that is, and you need to watch the TV series and the films as two different entities. On the Buses started in 1969, LWT's sitcom. They started it off in 1969. They didn't write in secure any deals or write anything into the contract about any rights to any spin-off films at that time. So round about late 1970, the Hammer King Colin approached, I think it was, they approached Ronnie Grove, Ronnie Chesney, said, we're interested in doing a spin-off film, who holds the rights? Ronnie Wolf and Ronnie Chesney looked at one and said, I suppose we do, because they knew that LWT didn't. So that's how Hammer came to do the films. Obviously, LWT were mightily peed off about it, and so basically they had to be careful when they were doing the films that they didn't encroach on any copyright from the TV series. Loxton and District, the Green Buses, they were all part of the TV series and owned by LWT, so they had to make sure when they done the films that they created their own bus company, which was Town and District, red livery as well, obviously, to avoid any confusion between the two companies, if you see what I mean. So they've all run on their own timelines as well, so don't start getting confused thinking, why is it Little Arthur in the TV series? It's because they're two totally different things, if you see what I mean. They run on their own individual timelines, so that's the reason why you've got the different coloured buses in the TV series to the films. That's why as well Arthur and Olive get divorced in the TV series, but they don't in the films. It's because they're two totally different timelines are running on. So that's that myth dispelled. Another myth as well that goes around, I don't really like it, is people claim that there was bust-ups between the cast and they didn't get on. That's total nonsense. I've had 3 or 4 of them already in different interviews who have all said that they all got on well, which was Bob Grant in the interview that I've got on my YouTube channel. Also, the Doris Hare says it in the Wogan show, and Anna Karen says it in the interview that I've got up here as well. That was part of the strength of it. They all got on so well together. We were good friends off this off screen and all of that, so that dispels that myth straight away. I suppose the fueling of that myth comes from a lot of talk goes around. I don't know where it started from, because that's nonsense as well, that Michael Robbins fell out with the rest of the cast. Again, that is just total fabrication. People try and figure out a reason for why he left, and a favourite one is, you know what I mean, or they had a bust up and all of that, which is nonsense. Basically, and this comes from Hal Dyer, Michael's wife, who sadly passed away now. She told me at my book launch event in 2009 that I mentioned earlier that Michael always loved his stage work. There was a famous stage writer at that time called Alan Ayckbourn, and he had written a play called Time and Time Again. He wanted Michael Robbins to appear in it in the West End. Michael loved his stage work more than anything, so basically that's what he decided to do. He always wanted to leave on the buses while it was still at the top, which it was around that time at the end of Series 6. It was still high up in the ratings in the top 10 easily. So basically, you've got that's the reason why he left on the buses when he did. To concentrate on that stage part and Time Again in the West End. Obviously no fallouts, because why would he come back for holiday on the buses? Why would he even talk about coming back on the buses in the 1990s, if you see what I mean? Also, there's that there as well, that why Reg left. People try and say he had a bust up with the rest of the cast. Again, that's just nonsense. Basically, if you think about it, Reg had been working on the buses since early 1969. So from 1969 right through until 1973, early 1973, when Holiday on the Bus, Series 7 on the Buses was filming. That was 4 years where he had been working without a break. So he had done 6 series of On the Buses, 2 spin-off films of On the Buses. He had also done Go for a Take. He had also done The Best Pair of Legs in the Business. And he had also done the Reg Varney show, his own sort of like variety show as well, which he'd done. So basically, I'd worked on all of those and that spell, and doctors had told him, because he had a heart attack in 1965, he had to rest, or he'd risk having another heart attack. Now, if he had have carried on right through and finished Series 7, then it would have been a week between Series 7 ending filming and Series and Holiday on the Buses starting filming. You had 1 week's break, which wasn't enough, obviously. So you had to take the break, and that's why he only done the episodes he did in Series 7, and meant then that he had a 2-month break, which is certainly a lot better than just a 1 week break. Another myth as well that's out there as well, which is worth noting as well, is that all of these scenes that you see in what look like houses, especially your chalet scenes and Holiday on the Buses, they were all filmed back at Elstree Studios, not in the chalets. The chalets just were nowhere near as big as what they looked on the film sets. I know, I've stayed there before. You would never be able to film the scenes in the chalets. They're so small, because you would have all the cast members in there. You probably need about 4 or 5 crew members in there. You would need camera equipment in there. You would need sound equipment in there, and you'd need all the electrical outlets to power all that electrical equipment as well. So it just wasn't doable at all. It was an impossibility. So all of these chalet scenes, the scenes in the houses, at the Butler House and the TV series and the films, they were all studio sets. The only time that I know of my knowledge that they filmed in an actual house was the scenes for the part of the scenes for the studio manager's house and the Holiday on the Buses. That was an actual house. I think it's because it was a copious, a big enough size that it could cope with the double level that it was on. It was nice big rooms. So, but the bedroom scenes and that, they were all filmed back at the studios as well. Again, restricted for room would be the reason in there, I would say. So that's the myth about the filming locations as well, tapped on. Just to say as well, I organised, another thing to say is that the On the Buses events in Boreham Wood, they've been running since 2008, which have been involved in every single one of those. Those came about, I came up with the idea for them in 2006. I attended our carry-on event down in Brighton, organised by a man called Ray Bentley. Ray Bentley, I asked him at the time, I said, how do you go about getting these sorts of events? I would be interested in doing one for On the Buses. I was running On the Buses forum at that time, the original On the Buses forum. There's a Facebook group, it's under the same name now, that's run by me as well. But when it was a forum online, a website, I put that to my forum members. I said, I'd like to get an event organised, anyone who's interested, attending and all of that. And then somebody from Fan Club came over and said, oh yeah, we could collaborate with it, which I agreed to do at the time. Seemed like a good idea. And since then, that sort of like, they put their badge on it as their event, which wasn't really a done thing to do, because it was my idea, if you see what I mean. But anyway, I've been running those events now since 2011, 2012 time. Also doing the Holiday on the Buses events. I co-organised that with a friend of mine as well. Also do walking tours as well for anyone that's ever interested in attending those. I've done walking tours of filming locations and Wood Green, Boreham Wood, and also Enfield and Wembley. Do hope to get down and do some more, but obviously the current climate, those sorts of things are not really possible as is at the moment, unfortunately. So that's that side of things there. Also, with if you're watching on the buses at all, when you're wondering as well about your on the buses filming locations, a little bit of tips for you there. If you're watching it and you like to try and figure out yourself, you can work out where they filmed it at about. And there were 7 series of on the buses and 3 spin-off films. The best way to categorize the filming locations is from series 1 through to series 6. So that was series 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. London weekends were based at Wembley Studios. So all of your filming locations were in North London, around the Wembley area, around Wood Green, where the bus depot was, around about Enfield and Harrow and Crouch End and Stonebridge, around those areas there. They filmed quite heavily in. And that was the first 6 series. By series 7 in 1973, the LWT have moved down to some new custom-built studios in South Bank. Those studios were in South London, so all your series 7 episodes are in South London locations, areas such as Lambeth near the studios, Camberwell, East Dulwich, Peckham, Malden, and Sutton. That was the sort of areas that they filmed in for the series 7 episodes of On the Buses. They did go further afield for On the Buses. They actually filmed down in East Sussex, which is about 30 miles, I think, south of London. They obviously went down there, I think, because they needed someplace private. They didn't want roads with new motor cars around, because it was back in the 1920s. There's a lot of old architecture in the countryside down that way. So I suppose that's the reason why they filmed down in that area for that, and specifically. They would have found it impossible to do your scenes on London streets, obviously, because you would have modern day 1970s cars running around in the background. The 3 spin-off films were all made at Elstree Studios in Boreham Wood. So your street scenes for series 1 and 2 heavily Boreham Wood, some up in Shenley, the village of Shenley, or South Mims, or Ridge, or St Albans. So basically all within a 5-mile radius of the studios. They didn't travel very far at all for convenience's sake. The only times they did go further afield was for the Windsor Safari Park scenes and Mutiny on the Buses, and further up to North Wales for the Pontins, Prestat and the Sand scenes, and also for surrounding shots around areas like Will, Rutland and Dizerf. That was the areas that they filmed in there for Holiday on the Buses. So that sort of like categorises all your filming locations there for you. Another myth to dispel as well is it started up, I can't remember, it started up, I think it was someplace like Amazon, or could have been Amazon, or it could have been IMDb, but somebody wrote up a review for Holiday on the Buses and said it even had a cameo from Richard Keel in it, which is total baloney. Basically, the man that people, and some people have actually taken that on board as being fact, when it's a total myth. Basically, the man that people are saying is Richard Keel was a Pontins employee called Jimmy. Basically, you can tell that it's not Richard Keel by the height of him. He's standing next to Blake. He was the same height as him in the film. Richard Keel was over a foot taller than Stephen Lewis. Straight away by that. Plus, as well, Richard Keel was a lot taller, was a lot younger, a lot older than Jimmy was. So that's another bit as well that tells you. Also, as well, why would Richard Keel come over and do a budget British comedy spin-off film when he's over doing he's got a career in Hollywood where he's being paid thousands of pounds for these film roles over in Hollywood. So basically, you can dispel that myth straight away. It wasn't Richard Keel, it was Jimmy, the name was of the employee. Another little myth that's come about as well, suffers twice now, as the location for where the motorbike is getting pushed in Holiday on the Buses. Someday a while back swore blind to me it was in an area on Merseyside called Barnston Dip. They were adamant that's where it was filmed. I went and had a look on Google Earth. Yeah, looks similar. I'll give the person that, but it's definitely not there because it's more of a rocky look on the left, right-hand side as you're looking at the sidecar, which you haven't got at the location. Which the location of it is, it was filmed in Barnet Road in Boreham Wood, South Boreham Wood. So about half a mile, maybe about a mile from the studios. And Adam Rhodes actually remembers being chauffeured down from the studios to film that scene as well. So that dispels that. And if somebody resurfaced again about a couple of weeks ago when someone claimed that it was somewhere near Prestatyn at Marston, which it obviously isn't as well. As I say, Barnet Road, Boreham Wood for that location. So that's that little myth dispelled as well, hopefully. So I'm just trying to think if there's any other myths that I can dispel while I'm still here on the online. Not that I can think of off the top of my head, but I hope you've enjoyed the myth busting, and hopefully I'll be able to work out the vagaries of this YouTube. And if not, you can catch me as well on the buses filming locations now and then group page where I do live question times and such like on Facebook. So if you just go onto Facebook, if you're not a member already, you can go onto Facebook and have a look at on the buses, the filming locations now and then to join that. And I do intermittently do live question times and such like. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this live stream, and I'll say goodbye to you for now.